Morning. We're a little bit late today. We had to do some flexing. It happens. But let's have a coffee break still. Grab your cup and you can join us. We'll hang out for a couple minutes. I'm going to give you a sec. Hey, Angie. Say hello in the comments as you join us for coffee today. Good morning, Christina. Ooh, I like that purple hair in your photo. That's fun. Welcome to Coffee Chats, Virtual Coffee Club. Say hello in the comments, and we will get started in just a minute. I'm going to give you another sec to get situated. And in that time frame, I drink coffee. Yo, 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 Cheryl. Are you feeling hip hop today? Hi, Corey. Wherever you're watching from today, wherever you join us from Coffee Club, what is your weather like today? Where I'm at, you can't see it because I'm in my lovely office space downtown High River, but it is so foggy here today. It is just that thick, take you in a big hug, I guess, fog. I'm not a huge fan of fog. I find it a little overwhelming, but it is what it is. How's things? How you feeling today? Christina says it's sunny in Manitoba, but it's cold. Yeah, you guys know a whole other kind of cold there. I've been in Manitoba in January and it was minus 45. It was so cold. It's foggy down in Nanton. It's one of those days, right, where you just want to, if you're in the foggy place like we are, it just makes you want to stay into bed and read a book, doesn't it? I mean, that's really winter for me, but also. So I just wanted to do a little check-in today and see how people are doing. I think we've been touching on this the last few times we've got together to have coffee in Virtual Coffee Club, and I just want to kind of do a mental health check-in, which sounds so bleh. We could call it a How's Your Five check-in. So how are things for you? Work, play, eat, sleep, love. We're going to talk more about that as we dive into mental health and conversations about that throughout this month for sure. But it's just been, you know, a crazy few days, I think, because it's been a crazy few months, because it's in turn been a really crazy year. And like we talked a little bit yesterday about really leaning into supporting each other through this time frame. So in the last 24 hours, I have watched a video of two very close friends of mine sharing their COVID journey. They were tested positive for COVID back in July. Incredible, amazing couple from Alberta. And they just felt the need to share their story on their social media yesterday and talked a lot about what it was like going through that. We know that we have Virtual Coffee Club members who have also tested positive and kind of started to share that story. But there is still, you guys, so much shame wrapped around this piece that I want to continue to talk about it so that we can kind of start to break down those walls, because you should not at all feel any shame whatsoever if you contract COVID-19. The chances of you getting it are probably pretty high. And I will say this again. Yes, there have people who have died from this illness, and my heart aches for them 100%. The death rate for this is not astronomical and scary. All deaths are awful. Please don't get me wrong. I am not saying that. I just want to try to also have us have more normal conversations about it so we can take away some of the fear that controls us through this process. However we can do that. And it was very interesting to hear my friends sharing of this story last night, because they had it over the summer. So back in July, and they didn't feel comfortable in sharing that information until now because they went through a large process. Now, the wife, my good friend, Luann, had very severe COVID symptoms. She was very, very ill, and it was, I don't know if I want to go as far to say touch and go, because I'm reiterating their story. It's not my story, but it was very serious. Her husband's symptoms were, by the sounds of it, a couple of days. It was interesting to see people struggle through that. And so it got me thinking, how can we have more conversation around that? This morning I had coffee with a friend, and we talked a lot about the heaviness that exhaustion is playing through this time period, right? So not only are we know we're playing a mental game, but we're exhausted through this. We're fatigued, the energy, and she made a comment to me that really struck a chord, because she is someone, she said, you know what, I am in a mentally healthy place right now in my life. She goes, but I also feel like it takes so much work to just be alive right now. Does that hit you in the heart like it did me? It takes so much work to just be alive right now. And that's coming from somebody who is in a mentally healthy space. Think about people in our world, my friends, who are not in a mentally healthy space. If those of us in strong mental health places are feeling the heaviness and the struggle and the exhaustion of this, think about those who aren't. You know, it's interesting. People can argue back and forth either way. You can have I'm going to call it a controversial conversation. It's a heated conversation for most people. You can have the conversation about the integrity of what's being broadcasted through mainstream media sources and even social media, things that are being shared that are extreme or maybe not truthful, or taking a focus that makes something look heavier than it is. If you have conversations with health professionals, you can get a pretty good idea of, yes, it's serious. Yes, it's important. Yes, we have to protect each other. We have to protect the vulnerable people in our world, et cetera, et cetera. But I think it's being portrayed interestingly through media channels. That's why I've stopped watching the news. But not everybody does. So when you're taking that in, when you're having that heaviness and you're feeling so bleak, guys, this can be really scary and this can be hard. And exhaustion itself is like, to me, it's kind of like one of those weighted blankets. And if you have one that's maybe a little bit, has too much weight for, say, I don't know how they do it. I think they do it based on your size or something. Anyway, think about having a weighted blanket that's just this much too heavy. Okay, that pressure, that holding you down, that whatever that looks like, can feel really overwhelming to get out of that blanket. That's what I think exhaustion is feeling like for us. So how do we help each other come out from underneath that exhaustion? How do we stay connected? How do we stay having conversation? How do we still check in on each other? And how do we lean in during this time frame? Because you know what, people who, you know, having coffee with a friend who I hadn't seen in a while, and she makes a statement like that, I'm not fearful for her mental health because I know she's in a good place, but it painted a lot of perspective to me for those who aren't. And how do we make sure we connect in with those people and everybody and continue having that conversation? Does that make sense? Do you have any ideas, any suggestions, any thoughts around that? I would love you to post that in the comments. And I don't want to come across like it's just so heavy, because we are going to make sure that Virtual Coffee Club has a lightness to it also that keeps us smiling, keeps us connecting, keeps it fun. So we want to make sure we keep lightness. But I want to also just really be diligent about making sure we're checking in and we're having conversations to help bring down the stigma that goes along with this pandemic. Because that's, for some people, could be harder than going through the actual illness, if that makes sense. So I've said before, we're in a long game, mental game, and we got to carry each other through that. And the days where you feel extra heavy, you gotta be brave and say it out loud, because that's how we're going to be able to come alongside and support each other. And the days where you're feeling good, we also want you to say it out loud, because we're going to need to borrow some of your spirit and your energy for those of us who don't, if that makes sense. I feel like that's a team effort, and it's just really felt like we have to continue to have conversations to make this normal. And the more we go through this, the more we're going to meet people who have been tested positive, who've been going through those motions, who've been figuring this out. And you know what, there's a lot of people who are asymptomatic and don't know. Like my friends who shared their video last night, they have no idea where they got COVID from. She was working from home, he was working out, but masked and limited. Like you just don't know. So what are the little things that we can do to protect each other, to help each other, and to get through? Okay, we are being told a couple of weeks. We were told a couple of weeks in March. Turned out to be a little bit longer. I like to just think right now, it's like, how do we get to Christmas? 100%, you need to watch as many Hallmark Christmas movies as you can. Right. So good. I can't stop watching them. And what's become really fun with the Hallmark Christmas movie is my son and I like to try to predict what I mean, we all know the Hallmark movie, how it ends, right? It's love and it's beautiful and it's romantic and it's everything you've ever dreamed and more. But we've been having a little bit of fun with the fact that so far, each one that we have watched, the main character of the show, the female main character of the show, shows up at the end in a red dress. So, things I have learned that are important. If you want happiness in the end and a true love moment, you need to buy a red dress. Okay, number one, we need to buy a red dress. Are you good with this? Okay. Number two, it always works out in the end, which I think ultimately, I mean, we might not show up to the party with, true romance with a babe, but it's all going to work out in the end. Second thing that we can learn from a Hallmark movie. So let's watch as many Hallmark movies as we absolutely can over the next several weeks leading up to Christmas. There is no wrong answer for how many you watch. Like, binge them. This is your time frame where you get guilt-free as much watching as you possibly can. Just saying. Lacey, how are you? Welcome. Gorgeous. The lip color and your hair on point. Thanks, buddy. I'm wearing my Arbonne lipstick. I just cannot remember which shade this one is, but it's one of the duo ones, and it's the really pinky one. Do you know the name of it, Lacey? You could post it in the thing. My favorite lip stuff. So thank you. Corey, red is best. Yeah. Hi, Liz. Welcome to Coffee Club. So I think, that's what my philosophy is going to be, is that Hallmark movies are the answer to everything right now. Ooh, I also went to it could be Bloom. Could be Bloom. I can't remember. Fleur. It's the double-ended one. I like to call it Barbie pink because that makes me feel good. It's not the true color, but if you like it, you can have it too. Just message me. What was I going to say? Oh, last night I went to a Christmas card craft making night, like where you make your own Christmas cards. That was so fun. It was festive. There was Christmas music. We made Christmas cards and had a lot of fun. I took my child. It was fantastic. So I think that's one of the things I put on the Kindness Revolution calendar this month, is to do a craft. There's something that feels pretty, you can shut your brain off in every other way and just kind of focus on that. And it was a good mental health thing. So I recommend that. I'm going to look up our calendar for today and see what our challenge for today is. Love you to take part if you feel like it. Oh yeah, see, today's was make a craft or start on some Christmas cards. So if you don't want to make your own Christmas card, because that takes some effort and some supplies, if you want to start thinking about if you're going to print a picture for your Christmas card, like let's send out Christmas cards this year. In the mail, old-fashioned, awesome, sending Christmas cards to people. I want to get as many in the mail as I can get. I don't know about you. We can exchange addresses if you like, but let's send Christmas cards this year. We have the time. We can do this. It's a pretty inexpensive, I don't know what it is per card now with stamps, depending on where you're watching from, but it's a minimal cost at best to brighten somebody's day if you sent out a card, right? And then we get something in the mail that is joyful, feels good, brings joy to somebody's life. It's pretty easy. It's an easy way to spread some kindness. So Christmas movies, Christmas cards. I don't know if you saw, but Tim Hortons has made a polar bear donut. Have you seen this? More importantly, have you tried this? This polar bear donut is so good. It has like little chocolate wafer ears, and it has a black jelly bean nose, and it's full of whipped cream. Not healthy whatsoever, but so good. You have to try at least one polar bear donut this holiday season from Tim Hortons, okay? So pretty easy. We're gonna own a red dress. We're gonna eat a polar bear donut. We're gonna mail a Christmas card. These are some joy things that we can do to connect with each other. Hi, Kelly. So yeah, a couple of little things today. We're gonna check in. We're going to have some fun. We're gonna keep on trucking together. That's all we can do at this point. And we can find those little joy bits. But you know what? I do want to say, if you're having, if you just have a day where you just want to be like, sometimes it just sucks. You're allowed to be there too. I got a joke sent to me today that if 2020 was a candy, it would be called Shittles instead of Skittles. Get it? Shittles. If 2020 was a candy. Maybe we'll do that tomorrow. We are going to be back tomorrow morning at the 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time slot. And we are going to bring back a WTF Wednesday so we can have a moment. So maybe you want to look up some, if 2020 were a whatever, some of those memes to share in the comments tomorrow. We're just going to have 20 minutes where we are just going to release a little pressure. We're going to have a little bit of fun. We're going to laugh tomorrow. It's going to be good because we're just going to get out some of the WTFs that we're experiencing and feeling. We're going to just blow them out. We're going to share some memes, and that's what Wednesday morning is going to look like. So thank you for connecting today. Know that you're really important. You're integral. You're so freaking special. So don't forget that. And there are days when exhaustion feels heavy and shame is real, but they do not control us. They are not who we are. We can rise above them. And if you can't do it alone, you've got friends here. So we'll leave you at that for today on this beautiful, I don't even know, Tuesday. Yeah, tomorrow's Wednesday. I look forward to, if 2020 were a what it would be, that we're going to do tomorrow morning. This is going to be fun. So start saving those memes today so you can post them in the comments tomorrow, and we have an opportunity to just have a laugh. WTF Wednesday is back tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. Thank you for connecting with us today here, and we will see you tomorrow morning. Goodbye, my friends.